Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream here on the channel for the Blackwood Crew. I am your host slash chauffeur, BHCxDark. Name is always there in the corner. And always, you can follow along on YouTube and Facebook at the Blackwood Crew, and then follow along at my name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram. So, it is Tuesday, October 25th, I believe. 25th. 10/25 of 2022. And as it is Tuesday, I am on my way to work. So, it is another hot day here in South Florida, again, because that's just how it's going to be for the rest of the year. Might as well be on fire. Fairly clear day today, so probably not going to get rained on, which is good because I don't want to get rained on. Yesterday was an absolute disaster at work. What the hell is this person doing? Okay. Idiots being idiots. Anyway, yesterday was an absolute disaster. It was just an unnecessarily busy day for no reason whatsoever. Coast Guard helicopter. Just very, very busy. And with people that, again, like always on a Monday, have no business being there. Their conditions are ones that can easily be treated through self-medication and rest, which is literally what you're going to get if you come. Except you won't have to shell out thousands of dollars for it. So there's that. We did have one guy show up. Not as a patient, but actually as a visitor to a patient that was upstairs on the floor. Now, this guy came in basically complaining as to why he could not stay with his wife, who was a patient upstairs on the floor on the medical floor. And we basically told him that, we'll call someone to look into it. And he wanted to spout out about some new law that got passed here in Florida where you can't leave family members alone. That you're not allowed to prohibit a family member from staying with a patient if they are related, which I understand. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, it turns out this idiot tried unsuccessfully twice before to go back upstairs. Keep in mind, this is like 11 o'clock at night, and that's when visiting hours stop. Meaning that he wanted to stay overnight with his wife. We're like, okay, there's got to be a reason for this. And sure enough, the reason is that the wife is not in a private room. They were sharing the room with another female patient. Now, hospital policy dictates that only in a private room can family members stay the night. There was no way in hell that anybody, security, the nurses, or even the AO, who's the administrative officer, basically the top of the food chain at the hospital at night, would allow a family member to stay overnight in a room where there is another patient that is unrelated. That would be a huge issue, huge privacy issue. And they made the right decision by telling this guy he had to go. That was the first 2 times. But apparently he didn't get it through his thick skull that he couldn't stay. Hospital policy dictates he cannot stay for XYZ reason. He was then informed a 3rd time he got to go. And again, he was complaining and in general being belligerent. Had it been me, I would have been like, call the detail officer, have him removed from the premises. I don't care. Bye. But thankfully, he was taken outside, explained one final time as to why he could not stay. It turns out this fool had nowhere to go. They came up from what supposedly was South Miami. I don't know what area. They just said South Miami, but that could be any number of places down there. And apparently he had nowhere to go. So the entire time I'm thinking, what kind of idiot brings a family member to the hospital without securing transportation home? Now I know. This idiot. Come on, really? There's an ambulance up ahead. Of the 3 lanes, I'm at the rightmost one, the ambulance is. Lights flashing, it appears completely stopped, so guessing there's an accident up ahead. Fun. Not nice. Or how long it's going to take me to do it. Thankfully, I'm in the lane furthest from the issue. Does make it a little bit easier to get around it because I have nowhere to go. So, moral of the story, the idiot trying to stay with his wife is rules are in place for a reason. All right, so Ring King 85 on rights. Is mobile gaming eventually going to kill off console gaming? I ask because I hear eventually they'll have graphics as good as consoles. When that happens, that's the nail in the coffin. Your thoughts? Okay, my thoughts on will mobile gaming ever kill off console gaming? No, never in a million years. Because although the graphics may be nice on some mobile devices, if you actually look at some of these tech demos, some of this newer technology that's coming out for home consoles and more importantly PC, you'll see that PC is obviously going to be light years beyond consoles. But then the console hardware is still light years beyond mobile. So yeah, you can have nice looking games on a mobile platform. But once you start pushing graphical quality and gameplay, you have to sacrifice it somewhere else. And the number one thing that gets sacrificed on a mobile platform is the battery. Battery life is absolute dog water when it comes to mobile gaming, whether you have a high-powered phone or not. Back in the day when phones first started getting mobile games, you had games, like Snake, those like Tetris. Well, playing those games causes multiple system resources to be used at the same time. First and foremost is the processor. When a processor gets used, it generates heat. Heat is the number one killer of electronic components. 2, you have the visuals, multiple colors, graphics moving quickly, lots of animations, lots of stuff moving on the screen. That has to be rendered in real time, again, through the processor and then onto the screen itself. Powering that screen requires energy. And then finally, you have audio. Whether you have headphones plugged in, you're using a Bluetooth headset, or you're using the built-in speakers on your mobile device, that's another system resource that power has to be transferred to for it to function. And because it has to sync up, again, that feels even more relying on the processor having to run all of this at the same time. While you have to remember, mobile devices, you're talking about cell phones, you still have services running in the background. Mobile data, Wi-Fi, if you're connected, apps running in the background, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is you got going background, as well as notification services. So all of this stuff is being run through the processor, which the faster it needs to run and the more stuff it needs to do, it's going to require more and more power. So you can have the largest battery there is for your mobile device. But once you start playing games on that mobile device, you can kiss your battery life goodbye. And that's the number one killer for mobile gaming. Because at the end of the day, a home console is always plugged into the AC outlet. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to run out of power? The most that'll happen is if you're playing on like the PlayStation 5 or you have a rechargeable Xbox controller, is that the controller will run out of battery. But those systems are designed for that eventuality. They'll automatically pause your gameplay, allowing you to either change out the batteries, if applicable, or connect your controller to a charging cable, whether it's connected to the console or not, and you can go back to playing. Mobile games can't do that. The most you'll get is a notification, 15% left, 10% left, then 5% left. And on top of that, using a mobile phone as a primary gaming platform is essentially a really bad idea. Because again, let's say you're mobile gaming on a road trip, right? And your phone gets to 15, 10, even 5% battery. Then your car breaks down, or you get a flat. How in the hell are you going to call AAA services or for someone to come rescue you? You've effectively killed the battery in your phone by gaming, thus leaving you in a very dire situation, unable to communicate. So there's a lot of downsides to mobile gaming. Now, I'm not saying that you can't game on a mobile device, but I would say have a backup battery or your charging cable. There's that. Now, on to the last part, where the graphics are getting better and better. Yeah, mobile gaming graphics are getting better, but they still pale in comparison to console gaming. And then, of course, you have PC gaming, which is always going to tower over everyone else. You should look up some videos of Unreal Engine 5 being basically toyed around with at this point. And you're going to see the state of gaming and 3D graphics. They are, well, I'll put it to you like this. The Unreal Engine 5 and the demos that I've seen effectively mimic real life, but only for stationary objects, non-living beings. So we're talking about environment design. Unreal Engine has now reached real life level graphics, real life reproduction, but only for non-living objects. Living creatures like animals or people, it's not there yet, but it's getting very close. You can still tell when a person is real or when they're fake, 3D generated, but we're getting there. The Ring King says, interesting, I've noticed people using controllers on mobile and tablets. It's wholly possible, usually through the connection of Bluetooth, and that's only going to get better from here on out. I think it's the convenience of it. Call of Duty Warzone killing it right now. That's a mobile game. You're right. It is a mobile game, but if you can actually play that game on the PC as well. So yeah, you can definitely play Call of Duty Warzone on a mobile platform, but you still have to worry about your battery life. You still have to worry about this mobile device that has other functions than just for gaming. Now, if you had just a second phone just for mobile gaming, that's a different story. And you still had your primary device for phone calls, text messages, social media, what have you. But you can play certain mobile games. In fact, some of the larger titles, like in this case Call of Duty Warzone, can be played on the PC using a keyboard and mouse. You can actually download the Blizzard launcher from battle.net and play Call of Duty Warzone on your PC without any issues. Almost as if you were playing one of the other standard Call of Duty titles. Like the last one that just came out, Modern Warfare 2. You would be playing it on a PC platform, but it's still considered a mobile game. Another one that actually came out earlier this year was Diablo Immortal. Now it was advertised as a mobile game, and it is. I actually have it installed. I play it occasionally. But look on battle.net, and there it is. To download and install for free, because since it is a free mobile game, you can download it and play it for free on PC through the battle.net launcher. So, again, you can play mobile games, play some great games on a mobile platform, but then you fall into that process of you're killing your battery, you're killing your only communication device in some cases, just to get an extra kill and get an extra hour of gameplay in. Personally, it's not worth the trade-off. Like, I'll play on my phone, but I have to have my either charging cable very close by, within reach, or I have my backup battery handy. Because again, that's the number one thing that's keeping mobile gaming from at least being on par with console gaming, and that's the mobile platform itself is not conducive for gaming because of the battery. That's the number one killer, is the battery. Now, if they were to say in the future come out with a rechargeable battery that physically remain the same size as current battery sizes, like you would find in your iPhone, your Samsung devices, your Motorola phones, these mobile phones, if they can maintain the physical size the same, but allow for much higher capacity, that would be the console killer right there. Once battery technology supercharge, that's when we'll see the true killer of console gaming. Okay, he says, okay, makes sense. I agree that console, especially PC, are here to stay. Absolutely, but I do think it's the reason we won't see handhelds anymore. Steam Deck not selling all that much, an X player, Xbox One X, the X player, One X player is too expensive. Yeah, because you have to remember what the Steam Deck and some of these other type of handheld consoles is. They're trying to effectively recreate PC gaming in your hand. That's exactly what a Steam Deck is. If you really look at a Steam Deck, version of SteamOS device. That's all it is. But SteamOS is a PC app. So you're essentially would be carrying around, if you were to have a Steam Deck, you would essentially be carrying around a handheld computer that only plays games. And if you've seen some of these new articles of the Steam Deck, people have already found a way to install Windows, a fully functioning version of Windows on the Steam Deck. They found a way to install Mac OS on the Steam Deck. And given the fact that SteamOS is actually based on Linux, you're going to see that as well. You're going to see a fully functioning version of Linux, most likely Ubuntu, running on the Steam Deck. So again, PC gaming wins. And in this particular sense, these devices still are limited by the battery. And yeah, I completely agree. These devices are not selling all too well because, again, if you want to do PC gaming, just get a damn PC. Have that set up at home. And not only would you have what could also be considered a dedicated PC gaming device at home, but you'll also have something that is multifunction. Because obviously a PC, you can do everything. Surf the internet, email, word processing, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, video chat with people. Nowadays, depending on what device you use, make and receive text messages, phone calls right from your computer. Really? Come on. So, yeah. Do I eventually see mobile gaming getting to a point where it can at least attempt to compete with console gaming? Maybe, but again, that's all dependent on battery technology and how far we can push it. Right now, the top dog when it comes to rechargeable batteries is your lithium ion, which so far have done great, but if you want to have higher capacity, it would physically need to be much larger. So at that point, you start getting these larger and larger devices. I mean, think about it like this: the iPad, the Apple iPad is a physically large device, big screen, capable of doing lots of cool things, very nice screen, very large screen, camera, processor, all that good stuff. But the other thing is that because it's a larger device, they can physically put in a much larger battery. So you can have an iPad and an iPhone right next to each other playing the same game, and you will see that the battery on the iPhone will die quicker. Why? Because of the physical dimensions of the device and the physical capability of the battery itself. And your batteries last longer, but then you start having to get larger devices. So there's always that trade-off. When it comes to console gaming, there is no real trade-off. You buy the console, and you hook it up, set it up, get your controller plugged in or connect it wirelessly, and you fire up a game and start playing. There's no trade-off when it comes to console gaming. For PC, the only real trade-off is as newer games come out, they want to continue to push those graphical limits, those speed limits when it comes to how fast the game should play. And the downside to that is constantly having to upgrade that PC. But, this is a big but, what's good about PCs, PC gaming in general, is that should the time come when you require to upgrade, you don't have to buy an entirely new machine. If you know what you're doing, this guy, you can crack it open, remove the older hardware, install newer compatible hardware, close it up, and jump right back into the fight. Now, are you eventually going to have to do a total system upgrade? Yes, but those are fewer in amount of times you have to do it over longevity than you would individual components. Usually the number one thing that has to be upgraded more often than not, especially when having to keep up with graphics, is the graphics card. Right now, they're stupid expensive because we have these scalping assholes buying them up and attempting to resell them at 3, 4, even 5 times the original cost. So there's trade-offs to be found. The only place where you don't really see that big of a trade-off is in console gaming. But eventually there's going to come a point where consoles are just going to be essentially like a home PC that only does one thing. Like, say, the Steam Deck, just connected to a TV. So, at the end of the day, if you want to get into real gaming, if you want to get into where it's always going to be at, the one that's always going to be at the forefront, the one platform that's always going to be in front of everybody else, is on PC. Because that's where it is. That's where it's always going to be. So, I'm at work, parked, got my work shades on, and I go ahead and head inside. We can go ahead and continue this tomorrow night as I play Apex Legends tomorrow night at 9 p.m. So, until then, I have been BHCxDark of the Black Hood Crew, YouTube and Facebook Black Hood Crew, and then my name directly on Twitch, Twitter, Steam, Trovo, TikTok, Instagram. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, be excellent for each other. Take it easy.